pasó, mis amores? Bueno, yo voy a jugar un ratito aquí porque aquí un rato le toca comerlo y otra vez. Así que vamos a ir adelantando lo que es HELLBLADE Senua's Sacrifice. ¿Qué pasó, pana Giovanni? Esto es todo, mi pana. Así que si oye un ruido es el ventilador que lo tengo full porque está haciendo burro de calor. ¿Qué es lo que con este juego? Que de acá estaba persiguiendo un bicho feo por ahí. Tuve que salir corriendo.
The beast is down there. No. She knows the beast is there.
También la de ultratumba este juego.
Always. Where are you watching you? The beast is there. You're never safe from him. You can feel him. Be careful. She needs to find Dillion. Where is he? She needs to find it. She lost it and she has to find it. I can feel it.
Ah, ya me acordé. Tenía que buscar la cabeza del novio muerto que se le cayó. Está intentando revivir al novio.
You're never gonna find it. Are you even going?
Buscar la cabeza del maraca del novio. Mierda, me da miedo, weón, este juego porque no sabía.
You're winning. Take him down. Take him down. Shut up.
Oh shit.
Get up quick. It's not over. It's not over. He's gone. Focus, focus.
Que me tumbó.
She's hurt. She won't make it. She's injured. She's not coming.
Puta, casi me matan, viejo. Joy Max, ¿cómo estás, mi pana? Buenas noches. Carlos Ismael, ¿qué juego es ese? Se llama HELLBLADE, Senua's Sacrifice. Ese es el nombre del juego. Es de una tipa, es así, estilo nórdico, así como de vikingos. Pero resulta que a la tipa le mataron al esposo, el que ella estaba enamorado. Entonces parece que se lo mató una diabla, una demonia, no sé qué carajo. Entonces resulta que... ¿La está por aquí? Bueno, entonces resulta que le cortaron la cabeza y ahora ella tenía la cabeza del marido porque quiere matar a la demonio para traerlo de vuelta. Sí, es un juego de terror. Es terror psicótico. O sea, juega con tu mente, te salen voces, te dicen cosas, te hacen resolver acertijos, laberintos. O sea, te hace que te vuelvas loco pues dentro del juego. No sé qué es pero... Entonces la tipa tiene que darle y darle matando monstruos y peleando con demonios para poder llegar a la... Entonces empiezan a jugar con tu mente, te empiezan a salir voces. O sea, es como un terror pero estilo psicótico. Entonces tienes que, te ponen acertijos así que tienes que buscar señales y no sabes, o sea, no son señales que puedes ver a simple vista. Tienes que buscarlas bien porque a veces te aparecen de cualquier forma. Te puedo pasar el link de mi canal y me decís lo que tengo que mejorar. Dale, Giovanni, claro que sí, mi pana, para eso estamos, para ayudarnos. Qué maldito. Se ponen la cascada ahí para que se me apague la antorcha, sí o sí. En Play 4 no te sé decir, Carlos. Tendrías que buscarlo ahora. Sí, por Messenger, por Messenger. Mierda, a ver si me apagó la antorcha. Mierda, ya estoy cargando. Oh, viejo. El juego no es apto para cardíacos, por eso lo pusieron. Mierda, le está creciendo la mina en la mano. Una maldición que le echaron. ¿Qué pasó? Ay, la cagué. Tengo que prender la antorcha otra vez.
Her father tried to help her,
but she wouldn't listen.
He was doing his best. She never listens. Why didn't she listen to him?
Alonso,
He was trying to
¿qué
save
pasó,
her
mi
from the
pana?
darkness.
Zinbo was right.
La
Zinbo was
gorra, no,
trying
la
to save
gorra
her
no.
from the
Hasta ahora ya no
darkness.
uso gorra.
But she wouldn't listen.
Never listens.
And now everybody is dead.
Qué culillo, güey.
All her faults were so weak. She should have known. She should have.
Why doesn't she learn? Wait till she learns.
She doesn't understand.
Now the darkness has Dilly's.
And it will take it.
Mierda, viejo. Mira esta vaina.
She can search and search, but she will never find
Puta,
it.
pero
She's let the
¿qué?
darkness in. It's the
Qué fea
end.
forma de
The
morir.
darkness will take her like it took her
No
mother.
lo digo porque murieron quemados, sino porque están con las nalguitas al aire, mira.
Trying to retrieve it.
Las nalgas al aire, weón. Qué manera de morir.
Where is she going?
The dragon Fafnir is so
Ah, va.
large
¿Qué pasó,
and
mi
deadly
pana?
that it would be impossible to kill him
Te
face to
murió con las
face.
nalgas al aire, mira.
But each day, Fafnir crawls across the heath to find water. So Sigurd digs a pit in the dragon's path and lies in wait in it. When Fafnir slithers overhead, Sigurd sinks his sword into the dragon up to the hilt. Sigurd leaps from the pit, and Fafnir sees his killer. He warns Sigurd that the treasure will lead to his death, as it led to the death of all.
Tienen que tratar de leer todo para que vayan
Sigurd
entendiendo.
replies that death comes to all men, and every man will want to be wealthy until that day. And he takes the treasure.
Verga, en cualquier momento me va a salir un bicho, weón.
Uses her memories against
Siento que me va a salir el monstruo ese que me estaba persiguiendo hace rato. Cagado.
She was never here. The lights run out. She'll die. She has to do it. She can't.
She'll
Oh,
die.
¿qué es ese símbolo ahora?
She has to. She can't.
She's going to go through anyway.
The light
Verga, pero esa voz en la cabeza, ¿verdad que vuelve loco cualquiera?
and she'll die. What's she doing?
She's lighting a torch. She's making light.
She's making a fire.
She's got light on the other side.
She'll be safe. What's her plan? What's she thinking? How's she going to get there?
Ese chico, gracias por los likes. Estoy cagado, weón. No te creas. Uno nunca sabe. Capaz y los violaron y lo dejaron con la nalguita al aire para que todo el mundo los vea. Verga, ese bicho que se oye rugiendo ahí, weón. Otra vez cambiaste el nombre, ¿por qué? Kyle Bright, ahora. Ya no es Kyle Train.
Although Sigurd kills the dragon, Rayan wants to keep Fafnir's gold all for himself. Rayan also wants the strength and wisdom
pero
of the
está aquí
dragon,
mismito.
so he drinks its blood and asks Sigurd to roast Fafnir's heart for him. Sigurd does so, but when he touches the roasted heart to see if it is done, he burns his finger. Without thinking, he licks his finger and tastes the dragon's blood. In
Está
that
aquí,
moment,
pero
he understands the language of birds and hears them talk nearby.
tiene que ser de ahí arriba, seguro.
Faster, faster, keep going, keep going. Stop.
Me vieron a matar. Y lo arrecho es que cada vez que me muero, la maldición que tengo en la mano me va creciendo. Mira, ¿ves? Cada vez me crece más y más.
Now she can.
She can do it.
It's light on the other side.
She can.
She can go through now. She must go through.
Although Sigurd kills the dragon, Rayan wants to keep
Creo que cada vez que me muero me crece más la maldición en la mano.
Rayan also wants the strength
Creo
and
que-
wisdom of the
que
dragon,
con esa
so he drinks
maldición
its
me mandan
blood
pa'l
and asks
principio.
Sigurd to roast Fafnir's heart for him. Sigurd does so, but when he touches the roasted
Hola,
heart
Naúl,
to see
¿cómo
if it is
estás?
done, he burns his finger. Without thinking, he licks his finger and tastes the dragon's blood. In that moment, he understands the language of birds and hears them talk nearby.
What's she thinking? She's going to get there.
Ah, ya me da culillo. No sé si meterme otra vez ahí, porque si me muere me vuelve a crecer la maldición. Joder como castillo. Creo que es para acá, ya va. Logré. Sí, no. ¿Eso cómo va? Mira.
She can't help but think of him. The tender guiding flame in a world so black. The longer it burned, the more she convinced herself that there was nothing beyond its reach. How little separates us from what we
Me da culillo, weón.
Sigurd should eat the heart himself.
O más campusano.
Rain wants Fafnir's gold.
La que caigo en la oscuridad voy.
Kill Rain before Rain kills him.
La cae en la oscuridad, viejo.
Sigurd should find Brynhild, the Valkyrie, who sleeps an enchanted sleep. Sigurd heeds the birds' advice. He kills Rain, eats Fafnir's
Ay,
roasted
ay.
heart, and takes
Ya me
Fafnir's
cuántas
treasure.
manos, qué vaina es esta.
And he embarks on a new quest. To ride to Hinderfell
Ah,
and
no,
find
viejo, ¿qué es esto?
Brynhild.
Mira esta vaina, weón. Ah, weón, esta vaina es para loco. Se le va a apagar la antorcha. Que no dejes que se te apague la antorcha, cabrona, porque yo no te voy a ayudar. Cuidado, cuidado, se te va a apagar la antorcha.
I hear you. I'm coming for you.
Oh,
Coming.
vete.
Close your eyes. The light is on. There it is. Dillian, I see you. The beast has Dillian. No. It's time. You're not taking it from me.
Ay, viejo. Ay, viejo.
No. I am leaving with him.
No, viejo. Esto se va a poner feo para la foto. Ay, tengo que buscarle la trampa. ¡Muévete! ¡No! ¿Qué pasó, patata? No te banearon el live. No me lo han baneado. No, pero cálmate, viejo. Coño es su madre. Ah, no, pero ¿y entonces? Pero si me estoy moviendo, pues duré más en la otra. Es que me está creciendo la maldición. La madre, me moví antes de tiempo. Coño su madre.
Get to the light. You must get rid of there is no light. Where is
Oh, me mató. Pero ¿y cuántas veces tengo que pelear con este diablo, pues? No. No, qué mentira. No, qué mentira. La huevona, tanto que le di ese coño de madre y nunca se murió. Ah, tengo que mantenerme.
Don't give up.
cagues así, padrino. Su madre. Eso que me quité. Quita la luz. No te metas, vieja. Quita la luz. ¿Qué es esa mierda? Viejo, no. Ya me sudaron las manos. Hijo de la grandísima, casi me da un infarto.
People think of evil as an unnatural, invisible force, and so invoke the gods for protection. But evil can come from the hand behind the gods. A familiar hand, cold and cruel. He tried to fix her with his rituals, kept her trapped in that hole. She couldn't say which was worse, the darkness or the monster that her father had become. She couldn't fight them both. And so she left, headed for the one ray of light that shone down on her. If she had stayed, she wouldn't have survived. But maybe Dillian would still be alive.
I'm so sorry, Lena.
She will save his soul, even if this time she can't save her own.
Bueno, yo.
Forgive me, Senua. I know you have no reason to trust me anymore.
Shadow, listen.
But believe this. It was my mission to make you hate. To hate the darkness with a passion so great it would focus your mind on this quest. Imagine. I've been your veils slack. All this time, I've wanted to protect you from the truth that would have destroyed you a long time ago.
Follow.
But you have conquered your darkness at every turn.
Stay alert, Senua.
You deserve to see behind the veil of darkness.
Then take me to the mountain,
To trust
De Valmore.
as deep as we can go.
No, mi pana.
Don't stand in your way.
She has to trust him. Follow it.
You will not survive what is in there.
I know.
What else can she do? Nothing. She doesn't want to turn back. She has nothing. She has
me digas que voy a pelear otra vez con el diablo ese. Dices, dale mi pana.
Mother,
¿Qué más, Ulises? Gracias, mi pana.
I won't let the darkness trick me again. I know you're safe with the gods. I can feel Hela's gaze, searching for secrets inside of me. Secrets that even I can't see. I'm not here to fight my past. I'm here for Dillion. I will fulfill my vow, whatever the cost.
Coño, hay dos entradas.
It's broken. She has to fix it.
Viendo.
Too dangerous. She's done it before.
Evalmore se llama HELLBLADE, Senua's Sacrifice. Es el nombre del juego.
How will she do it? There must be a way. You have to try. She'll never make it.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. They call this Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. First, there will be a terrible winter, 3 years long. Then,
Está bien.
mankind will turn
Como
on
un bug.
itself. Brothers will fight each other to the death, and people will forget what they owe their kindred. Times will be hard. Crimes will be great. It will be an age of axes and swords. The wind will blow through abandoned halls. Wolves will walk where children played. The world will fall into ruin.
Gracias, Alonso. Gracias, mi
Yes,
pana.
it is.
She'll never make it.
This isn't just a broken bridge, is it? Mother, you showed me how to see further. To see the hidden wonders in our world
Sé que es por
and explore
acá,
new paths into the
pero-
unknown. To lead so that others may follow, or to warn so that they may avoid. That is our gift.
Pero aquí vi otra
and our
escalera y
duty.
quiero... Yo soy chismoso.
I'm not going to look away in
Me
fear
gusta el-
anymore.
Me gusta dejar espacios
The
vacíos.
land of the giants will thunder with the sound of their army on the move. The gods will
Sí, quiero ver
assemble.
qué
The
coño hay
dwarves will
allá
leave
de
their
momento.
stones. The frost giants will come from the east. The
Ultrarón.
Midgard
¿Qué va,
serpent
mi
will
pana?
turn up the waves. Eagles will scream and tear at the corpses with their yellow beaks. The ship of the dead will set sail.
Ya para acá, ve. Al inicio, como que... Ah, no ve. Tenía que venir para acá, mira, tenía que resolver el puente.
She did it.
¿Eh? Lo que a mí me gusta, no me gusta. Cabo suelto. Tuve que crear una cuenta que supuestamente fuera de Canadá y pues le regalan 14 días al plus sin poner algún método de pago. Ah, coño, está bien. Lol. Está bien la vaina.
He's down. Finish. Thank you. Get up quick! It's not over. It's not over. It's not over yet.
Esa mierda.
How will she do it? What will she do?
Todo es puro estrés, papá.
How's she going to find his actual son? Where does Ella keep
Para
his
ya le toca la comida al Jun. Pero
How will she get it? What will Hella want in return? She must bargain.
No,
She'll kill Hella.
she cannot bargain with Hella.
She's not strong enough to kill Hella.
What does Hella want? No one can bargain with Hella.
What does Hella want? What can she
The
do?
Northmen say the world will come to an end. They call this Ragnarok,
Ragnar.
the destiny of the gods. First, there will be a terrible winter, 3 years long. Then, mankind will turn on itself. Brothers
Demasiado
will fight
bueno,
each
este
other to
juego,
death.
demasiado bueno.
People will
Pero ahí creo
forget
que
what
viene
they
el
owe
otro.
their kindred. Times will be hard.
La segunda
Crimes will
parte o el DLC.
It will be an age of axes and swords. The wind will blow through abandoned halls. Wolves will walk where children played. The world will fall into ruin.
The soul is valuable.
Hella will want her son.
Hella.
She can take Dillion's soul and lay him to rest. Hella. She can get his soul back. She's so close to saving Dillion.
She can do it. She just has to be prepared to fight for it.
Few have come this far.
She can finally put him to rest.
What if she falls at the final hurdle?
She won't.
Then Hella will take both
Ah,
their
porque
souls.
puso.
She will defeat Hela. It's all for nothing.
If she doesn't save Dillion, his soul will be eternally damned.
No. You'll stay here forever. She can do it.
She can do it.
She can still see the secrets of the gods. She's secretly so special.
Can do it.
She must see. She has the sight.
Miel.
She can see their secrets. There's an illusion. She's found a way. There's a way.
She can see.
She must align herself. She can do it.
There's the
She aligns herself. It's there.
Puerta, ¿eh? Ah, esto es puro acertijo maquiavélico. Sí, weón. ¿Por qué crees tú que siempre amanezco yo? Es que mi mujer pasa todo el día con el bebé. Duermo un rato, yo duermo mediodía, después al mediodía me pongo a trabajar. La duermo toda la mañana pues para poder aguantar la noche. Duermo toda la mañana, almorzamos, después del almuerzo me pongo a trabajar. Termino todo el trabajo rápido en la tarde. En la noche me encargo yo de cuidar. Así que nos estamos turnando.
Trolls will walk the land, men will tread the road to hell, and the heavens will split open.
Mientras lo cuido, transmito. Ahorita sí voy a tener que pausar porque tengo que tocar la comida ya. Oh. Su madre, ¿cuándo me pegó este Ay, no lo vi.
She'll never finish it. It's nearly over. Finish it. End it.
Oh.
Focus. Build it. It's building.
Joda. Huevona pues. Uy, no había mucha intensidad esta huevada. Para completar el pasito tontón del cuento. Esa intensidad. Está buena eso. Vas a jugar Call of Duty Mobile más tarde, Aldo, todavía no. ¿Qué? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 19 20 21 22 23 24 25 26 27 28 29 30 31 32 33 34 35 36 37 38 39 40 41 42 43 44 45 46 47 48 49 50 51 52 53 54 55 56 57 58 59 60 61 62 63 64 65 66 67 68 69 70 71 72 73 74 75 76 77 78 79 80 81 82 83 84 85 86 87 88 89 90 91 92 93 94 95 96 97 98 99 100 101 102 103 104 105 106 107 108 109 110 111 112 113 114 115 116 117 118 119 120 121 122 123 124 125 126 127 128 129 130 131 132 133 134 135 136 137 138 139 140 141 142 143 144 145 146 147 148 149 150 151 152 153 154 155 156 157 158 159
considered each god will do battle at Ragnarok. Odin will fight the monstrous wolf and be killed, but his son will avenge him and plunge his sword into the heart of the beast. Freyr will face Surt, but he had given his sword away for love, and without it, he cannot defend himself against the flames. Thor will smite the Midgard serpent to no avail. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet, steam will shoot up, flames will play against the sky, the heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and the people everywhere. Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
Ragnar un coño. Pero ya tengo la maldición en toda la mano. Completé el puente, que era lo que quería. ¿Qué es la hora que iba yo? Uy, viejo. Deja exhausto. Boom. Bueno, tengo que levantarme a hacerle la leche al bebé. Si quieren dense una vuelta y nos vemos dentro de un rato. No voy a quitar el directo, lo voy a dejar allí donde estamos. Vamos a abrir la puerta a ver qué hay detrás de ahí. Supuestamente, me imagino que debe estar el monstruo con el que estaba peleando ahora, que me agarró por las patas. Pero vamos a dejarlo aquí. Voy a dejar aquí, no lo voy a quitar. Denme un chance. Y vamos a pausar. Samumite. Vamos a pausarlo. Ya venimos. Lo voy a pausar. No voy a quitar el directo. Simplemente voy a pausar. Estén pendientes para cuando... Ah, nada, brother. Así es activado. Lo voy a parar aquí, chicos, que tengo que darle comida al bebé. Así que nos vemos dentro de un ratito. Ya vuelvo. Listo, se acabó. Gracias por el... No puedo hablar muy fuerte. Está durmiendo al lado mío. Conseguí este esponjocito que tiene como 2 años por ahí escondido. Dale, Giovanni. Ahora dentro de un rato lo miro para verlo con calma.
What happens when she dies?
What happens to us?
What happens to us?
We die too.
Do we die too?
We
I
die
don't want
too.
to die.
I don't want to die.
We'll all die someday.
I don't want to die.
And when everyone's gone, even the gods will die.
I don't want to die. We don't want to die.
I don't want to die.
Senua, stop. Turn back.
Stop. Stop her. Why is she going? Stop.
Senua, stop. Why won't she stop to die? She won't stop. Stop.
Ahora lo veo con calma para chequearlo bien y pues, si lo veo apurado no te voy a poder...
I'm sorry. I didn't ask you to be a part of me. If you don't want to die with me, then leave me alone.
I don't want to die. Please stop. 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 You'll never come back if you go there.
There is nothing to go back to.
We only have each other now. Don't abandon me.
Everyone suffers. They were right about me.
Listen to me.
Está dormido aquí al lado. Parece que no puedo hablar mucho.
They were afraid. Like children scared of the dark.
So was I.
They
Eso
made
es
up
que se
monsters to
lo
fill the void. That doesn't make them real.
They made them real.
No!
Follow your soul and let go of the Senua of old. For there lies your weakness, and the darkness will find it.
It's not like the old stories, is it? The noble warrior facing evil in search of victory and honor. Clear dividing lines. No. This place is not quite like that. It's as if it knows that true torment lies within. Memories you cannot defeat, cannot escape. This is her hell.
Sí, o sea, duermo en la mañana. Duermo en la mañana, trabajo en la noche y... Perdón. Duermo en la mañana, trabajo en la tarde y lo cuido en la noche.
Mother!
Be like this. Turn away, Senua. Turn away, Senua!
You see it, Senua?
Can you see the darkness?
You see the darkness? Faces fear and suffering. You can see it.
I remember it
She has nothing to fear anymore. The gods have saved your mother. Through my hand.
You killed her.
It is the will of the gods.
Fuck the gods! You did this to her! Why?
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the underworld. They crawl into your soul and rot you from the inside. Defy the gods like your mother, and the darkness will come for you too. You understand, Senna?
Se quiere dormir el coño de madre.
I do understand. You cursed me with your own madness. I was just a child. You created this darkness! You created this darkness so you could hide behind it!
Only suffering brings
Ese gatito,
salvation. It is the way of the gods.
It was all a lie. You are a lie! She didn't defy the gods. She defied you. And so you killed her.
You didn't pray to the gods. You prayed to your mother. Your mother, who was too weak to fight the darkness and abandon you.
You tortured her. You killed her. You are...
Those rituals, the years of isolation, the pain that still haunts you. It was the only way to fight the curse within you.
You're a liar.
The darkness is inside you and it will destroy you.
You're a liar!
No, sir. The darkness is here. You cannot wish it away. And it will watch as you draw your last dying gasp.
I won't let you kill me. Ah!
You're surrounded, Senna.
see through your darkness. You're a liar and a murderer. And if you really are Hela, then I have a sword here that can kill a god.
Look at you. Running forward and moving backwards to wallow in your miserable past. You're making a mistake searching for Dillion. The same mistake that killed him in the first place. I'm trying to save you from yourself. You saw them, it is a lie. The plague of darkness, the butchering of Dillion by the Northmen. You saw it yourself.
Lo siento.
You told everyone I was cursed. They believed you. I believed you.
Tell me, Senua, where is Dillion's soul if the darkness is alive? How you saved him?
He's here. I know he's here.
No se rinde, weón. Le echa bola, ¿no?
Dillion, I know you're here. Hold on. I'll find you.
Otra vez el puto cuervo. la madre.
Delian! Where is he? You're trying to trick me again with your lies.
Me están dando en la
I know
madre.
he's here. You took him from me. You have him.
Lo tengo rato ya, Giovanni. Ay, papá.
For what? What can you do to me that you haven't already? Fight me. Come on.
Your own father. You betrayed the gods in search of brilliance, in search of love. Look where that's got you. Let go of the battle. Let go of redemption. Let go of Delia. Don't let your darkness hurt anyone else.
¿Qué pasó?
Watch out. Behind you. Watch out.
Coño, qué bien. Ah. Coño, pero es que no joda. La coño madre esa es la que me mueve el techo. Levántate, levántate.
You're killing yourself.
La que me llegó a morir aquí. Levántate, levántate, bitch.
I'm going to die.
You're killing yourself. Behind you. Behind you. Let go of your battle. You don't have to fight anymore. Be careful, Sam. You're going to die. Behind you. Behind you.
Coño, me mató. Qué cagada. Ah, no, ya vi, más bien había aguantado mucho. Huevones, coño, mentazón que me dieron. O sea, los bichos nunca iban a morir, tenía que dejarme matar. Dale, leíto, nos vemos después. Se te cayó 2 veces, lo vas a joder. Dale, pues seguimos, compa. Mira la coño madre. Mi espada del augurio. Verga, le va a clavar la espada al tipo.
If you're alive, and there's no darkness, then you never took him from me, did you? And I can't save Dorian.
12 horas la buena. Dale, nos vemos, Leito, descansa. Tranquilo, mi pan. Porque tengo que amanecer con el bebé. Verga, se volvió loco este tipo.
Is that what you want me to believe? After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know he's here. I know you have him. I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok.
Sí. Dale, Leo, nos vemos, tranquilo, mi pan. ¿Qué fue? No sé, Giovanni, pero parece que sí, no sé. No sé, parece que sí. Pero no lo sé en realidad.
But if you won't, you will have to kill me. Because I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate. No quest. Nothing.
Ya enloqueció de pana.
And you will have no power over me.
Adela.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senna. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is darkness. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from our darkness.
Verga, como que le va a cumplir la promesa o qué pedo. Presiente que ese demonio es ella misma.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Samuel. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea.
¿Qué dije? ¿Qué te dije? Ella misma. ¿Qué
Do
pedo?
not mourn the waves, the leaves, and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there, waiting to be seen again.
Oh no. Oh. It's the rocks. The darkness is back. The darkness is
Deberían hacerle una película a esta vaina.
What is it? It feels it's different. It feels okay. Is it okay?
This is where my story once began.
It's different.
And so it has to end here,
It's changed.
because I cannot see further than this.
Parece el final esa vaina.
Follow us. We have another story to tell.
My friend.
Oh viejo, qué belleza de juego.
This now will be your story.
Qué
to witness.
belleza de juego, viejo. Qué hermosura. Ah, huevón, nada, me emocioné como que si estuviese en el cine viendo un estreno, huevón. Qué belleza.
I know it's hard to tell how
Wow,
mixed up you
yeah.
feel
Qué belleza, weón, de juego. No, viene la segunda parte de este juego por ahí. Les voy a subir les voy a subir el trailer. Perdón. El tráiler a la página para que vean la segunda. Porque esto continúa. Belleza de juego, viejo. Qué belleza. Por ahí hay otros juegos así, Giovanni. Acuérdate que está el Metro Exodus, está Gear 5, que todavía lo estoy pasando también. Hay un montón de juegos todavía por pasar. Qué belleza de juego, viejo. Sí, bueno, una historia increíble, un final espectacular, o sea, la propia película de Hollywood. Qué belleza de juego. Bueno, los sonidos, la historia, bueno, tienes que verlo de un principio. Por ahí están las otras partes que yo subí, Giovanni. Por ahí están las otras partes que yo subí, para que veas de qué trata el juego en sí, de qué.
Please don't go. I want you to stay. I'm begging you, please. Please don't leave here. I don't want you to hate for all the hurt that you feel. The world is just illusion, trying to change you. Please don't go. I want you to stay. I'm begging you, please. Oh, please don't leave here. I don't want you to change for all the hurt that you feel. This world is just illusion, always trying to change you.
Bueno, señor, esto se acabó. No voy a parar un rato porque voy a terminar de dormir al bebé porque no se ha querido dormir.
stormy seas and lost
Vamos a ver,
soul.
vamos a ver qué.
Who is it?
She's dreamt of this before.
It's coming.
Un video como un.
Is it? Is it? Is it?
They say dreams are visions of our memories, thoughts, and fears, as seen by our inner eye. But what if each one of us is always dreaming, even when awake? And we only see what our inner eye creates for us. Is this what hell is? A world shaped by Senua's nightmares. Maybe that's why people fear seeing the world through her eyes.
Yes, 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 she's scared.
Because if you believe that Senua's reality is twisted, you must accept that yours might be too.
The psychosis.
HELLBLADE: Senua's Sacrifice is a video game about Senua, a Celtic warrior on a vision quest into Viking territory. But what sets our hero Senua apart is that she suffers from severe psychotic mental illness.
He knows she's getting closer. He can feel her coming closer. She's getting closer. They're watching. They're watching.
The original idea for HELLBLADE was to create a classic hero's journey, a journey of suffering, but one where the fantasy world is not another planet or alternate universe, but a world that is constructed in Senua's mind. But to do so would mean putting psychotic mental illness at the center of the experience, a subject that is still considered taboo, and a challenge that was both terrifying and exciting in equal measure. In HELLBLADE, the starting point was a newly discovered Celtic goddess called Senuna in Ashwell, Hertfordshire. When first discovered, her name was thought to be Senua, a name which I liked and kept. I wondered if Senua might have been a Celtic warrior like Boudica who stood up to the Romans. While the Romans had conquered all of Europe, there was a group of Celts up in the furthest reaches of the Roman Empire that could not be conquered, the Picts. And so the Romans built a wall, called Hadrian's Wall, that spans across Britain from sea to sea to keep the Pictish barbarians at bay. The Picts were known for their war paint, painted on with woad, and their matted hair clumped with lime. And so Senua would be a barbarian Pict in this image.
What's your name?
Senua,
I haven't seen you before.
I don't live home much.
Oh, Zeno's daughter.
I have to go.
Wait.
Orkney is off the coast of Scotland and was inhabited by the Picts, steeped in history and mystery, and so I made Orkney Senua's home and set the stage for a crisis. In the late 8th century, the first Vikings landed on the Orkney Islands. The population of the Picts crashed thereafter, replaced by the Norsemen of the 9th century. Were they wiped out? We don't know for sure, but it would seem likely given the reputation of the Vikings. The Northmen's brutality is legendary. High-ranking leaders and chieftains of the tribes they conquered were often offered as sacrifice to their gods. The most brutal of these sacrifices was known as the Blood Eagle. I imagine Senua as a young female warrior who returns home from exile to find her partner, Dillian, brutally sacrificed to a Norse god by these hellish warriors from a faraway land. I imagine the horror of this moment
no
and
sé
how
de
it
qué
would
trata
have
la
dragged
segunda
her
parte,
deep
pero
into
creo que es
her
con ella misma.
No!
I came to learn that the Celts had a sophisticated and nuanced perspective on the nature of mental disorder. One term they used was Gelt. A Gelt is a man or woman who has been driven mad by a curse, battle trauma, or grief. The Gelt would take to a life in the woods in search of penance, punishment, and purgation. And so Senua became a Gelt, cursed by darkness, looking for redemption in the wilds. Another word the Celts used in reference to mental disorders was truth, meaning fool, or
liar,
one who utters the words of God. They tell of the mad sinner who flees battle into exile and takes on a beastly nature, growing feathers on his body. The character called Truth in HELLBLADE is based on a little-known person called Findan, an 8th century Irish Celt who was captured and enslaved by the Vikings, but eventually escaped to Orkney where he became a monk.
I will tell you my stories of hell, if I may walk with you.
Upon meeting Senua, it would be his stories that fuel her quest deep into their world of gods.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet, flames will play against the sky.
The heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and people everywhere.
Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
So the stage was set for a new adventure, a journey into the Norse underworld called Hell, a vision quest fueled by madness and myth, a fantasy that was created by Senua's own mind, and one that we would experience through her eyes.
This is your mission. This is your quest. There is nothing else left.
To make a game about a warrior with psychotic mental illness as its central theme was fraught with danger. Mental illness such as psychosis is still taboo and rarely acknowledged in a century of cinema, never mind the new medium of games. Where it does feature, it often conflates psychosis and psychopathy associated with a lack of empathy. It is unfortunate that these two words sound so similar that they are used interchangeably in media. I must admit that I didn't have to look very far to discover my own ignorance of the subject. So we reached out to Paul Fletcher, psychiatrist and professor of health neuroscience at University of Cambridge.
Psychosis is a descriptive term, and it refers to having a loss of contact with objective reality. So it's characterized by two main sets of symptoms. One of them is hallucinations, where somebody experiences perceptions when there is no actual objective thing out there to perceive.
Who are you?
And the other is delusions, where somebody comes to very often bizarre, unpleasant, frightening beliefs when there's no good evidence in favor of them.
There's no doubt about it. The source of the darkness is in Helheim, and the goddess Hela holds his soul there.
We reached out to Welcome, a biomedical research charity that spends billions on research and awareness programs aimed at improving health.
Mental health hasn't always been presented in the media in a way that is particularly helpful. It can be challenging to engage people with the subject matter, and there are a lot of preconceived ideas about mental health, and particularly schizophrenia and psychosis. So we hope our support allows the team to continue to collaborate with Paul Fletcher and with those who have experience of psychosis to create a game that provides a fresh perspective on the condition and allows audiences to engage with it in a way that just wouldn't be possible in any other medium.
What started out as a brief consultation convinced me that we were only scratching the surface of an immensely deep and interesting subject that could enrich and change the very nature of the game.
That's cool. Thanks so much for coming here.
Pleasure. Thanks. It's really interesting for me. I'd love to be involved. It's fascinating.
Our understanding of psychosis is still very much a mystery, and ways of treating it are still primitive compared to physical illness. After all, it is easy to see the pain and suffering caused by physical diseases or physical trauma. It is not so easy to see the mental suffering and trauma of severe mental illness. But what if we could find a way to see it? Games are capable of drawing you in for hours on end, playing the role of a character who is different from you, experiencing their perspective, and actively involving you in a world that functions with a different set of rules. If we were to represent Senua's psychosis, we would have to simulate voice hearing, a common attribute. But how can we simulate something we have no first-hand experience of? Professor Charles Fernyhough, a leading expert in voice hearing from Durham University, offered his help.
Hearing voices is an experience that is usually associated with severe mental illness, and crucially we know that hearing voices is a part of ordinary life for many people who don't meet the criteria for mental illness.
Yeah. Oh, that's not him in real life.
We know voices vary according to where they appear in space. Voices can appear far away in the distance, they can appear right there in your ear, they can seem to be coming from inside your head.
Based on the information Professor Fernie Ho provided, I put together a sound brief and invited some actors to the studio. We recorded the actors using a binaural microphone, which records the 3D spatial position of sound, replicating the way sound is heard by human ears. It gives you an incredible sense that the person you are listening to is right there beside you.
Can't see how she's going.
Rachel Waddingham from the Voice Collective came to our studio with 2 young voice hearers to speak to our team. We talked at length about their experiences and they listened to our tests, giving us feedback on how we could improve on it.
Everyone hates her. She's cursed.
It's very hard to represent what this experience is like, partly because it's such a personal, intense, emotional experience. It's testament to how Ninja Theory have been listening to what the researchers are saying, but also, crucially, listening to the experts by experience. What they've come up with is so compelling. It's by far the best representation I've heard of what these experiences are like.
Other common attributes of psychosis are visions and flashbacks. We met with Recovery College East, who work with and care for people recovering from severe mental disorders. A group of service users gave us their first-hand account of what they experience.
Sometimes when the visions or what we're seeing is too much, we become small until eventually we perhaps don't see anything.
The people we spoke to, the stories they told, were fascinating, harrowing and mind-boggling. The reality of what people experienced was vivid, far exceeding what I could possibly have imagined. We went away itching to represent some of these visions and flashbacks in the game.
Hands will know my heart is so, love is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper? I could never know how you grow, all these days are killing me. Now I see deep in me insanity does unfold. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper. I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
Sí, del comportamiento humano arrechamiento. Todo lo plasmaron en el juego.
As we all know, my heart is so far away. Don't you know how I wanna feel deeper?
Todo lo que les habían dicho los psicólogos, yo lo pusieron
I
en
could
el
never
juego.
know how you grow, all these days are killing me.
El rito nos hace sentir náuseas.
Like this, I just wanna live that song. I just wanna feel deeper.
Aunque se ve blanco y todo.
I just wanna feel deeper, deeper.
To refine our work, we continue to hold meetings with Recovery College East over the course of a year and a half, showing them what we had achieved so far and refining the in-game representations based on their feedback. With their help, flashbacks, visions and changes in perception were woven into the story and gameplay of Senua.
The students that are involved in this project are incredibly excited about being involved. They have described the experience as being important because it values their lived experience and shows that despite what we have been through, all of that experience becomes valid, that actually it's something that we should all be talking about.
The experiences described range from beautiful to frightening beyond comprehension. I heard of a girl who has to live with an angry voice screaming at her, slamming on her doors and walls 24 hours a day. I met someone who would often see hanging corpses in a room, so real that she would sometimes try to rescue them. The panic and fear that comes with such visions is entirely understandable, and it can be a living horror for some.
Worthless, weak, pathetic. Go on, feel sorry for yourself, because there is no one left to do that for you.
I was urged by one fellow that we should not shy away from showing this horror, and so I was perpetually torn in making it. Have we gone too far with our representations or not far enough?
broken and lost. Just like your soul.
Come on.
In some ways, voice hearing and visions were the low-hanging fruit, so to speak. There's another aspect of psychosis that is much harder to explain, but one that I think video games are uniquely able to represent, which are often called delusions.
People begin to see patterns in the world. They begin to link things that most people wouldn't link. Most of the things that we might think would be coincidence or, not worth commenting on. Nevertheless, that might have a particular salience or importance for them.
One individual described how everyday words, sounds, colours and objects were steeped in meaning to him, forming a strange and sinister puzzle that he was determined to solve but could not quite get to the bottom of.
It's not just brain dysfunction. It's not like the system shut down. It's actually an incredibly creative process. The person creates a world populated with voices and phantasms and terrors, and they're completely immersed in it. They believe in it.
We often invite people into the studio to play the game. In one of our playtests, they played through much of the game, making associations between runes, secret messages, and the threat of darkness that stalked them. There are many things that happen in the world of Hellblade that make perfect sense within the context of Senua's mind. The dark rot that's killing her slowly from within, the secret runes of the gods that block her path to Hellblade, and strange associations that exist in the game to confuse you. To complete Senua's quest, you have to internalize and accept the logic and meaning behind these things to progress. Afterwards, they said that they didn't see much evidence of mental illness in the game. People with delusions of all sorts would argue the same thing, that they are not aware of their experience being abnormal in any way.
I need this sword. It's important.
Representing perception changes and thinking patterns within Hellblade gives us a set of symptoms common in psychosis. But people with lived experience were keen to emphasize another point, that it is wrong to define a person by their symptoms. Quite often, the illness comes not from the symptoms, but from the stigma, isolation and mistreatment that comes about from the rest of society.
They say that I'm cursed. What if they're right?
I needed someone to portray Senua, someone who could believably internalize her suffering. Melina Jurgens, our video editor, had been a stand-in for Senua over a few months while we perfected our motion capture techniques. Without realizing it, she had already auditioned for the role, and I knew her well enough to know that I didn't have to teach her to act, but to relive her own internal pain. As often is the case, those who have suffered mental anguish are never far from us. My hope is that by creating a compelling and aspirational character in Senua who feels very much real, albeit in a fantasy setting, we can to play. I imagined her life based on common threads in real people's lives. She was always prone to psychosis as a child. Her mother Galina also heard voices and had visions, so perhaps there was a genetic aspect. Or perhaps it was cultural, as she lived within a world without science, of gods and a superstition, as exemplified by her druid father Zimbal. Psychosis developed in her late teens to early 20s and was exasperated by stigma and isolation at the hands of the clansmen and her father.
This darkness, it's spreading.
The trauma of seeing her lover Dillian sacrificed tips her over the edge, making her remodel her reality around a concept that connects everything: the darkness. So the question, is what Senua experiences real? Can only be answered by saying, yes, it is real. It is her reality.
All of her suffering will have been for nothing. It's just a matter of time.
Towards the end of the project, service users and professionals that had collaborated with us were invited to see the near-final game. It was a chance to see if the game had reflected their views or if it had misrepresented them.
For me, being involved in especially developing Senua's character has been really important, and being able to bring in my perspective and what I see and what I hear, and having that built into the game has been a real privilege. It's gritty and it's meaty
and there are some tough subjects in there that are being tackled with honesty.
I was blown away by it today, absolutely blown away. It was just fantastic to get the opportunity to use our lived experience in a very creative way. There's nothing tokenistic about the work we've put in. It feels like we've been listened to, things have been taken on board, and I think there was a lot of realism in the game itself, and it feels very authentic.
HELLBLADE will give people a good experience of what it's like to hear voices and have those experiences. I'm glad that the guys at Ninja Theory have asked us to come along and help them build an experience that's positive when it comes out, and get myself a copy and have a go.
I think all the way through I was really inspired by how the conversations have translated into the game in a way that I think I didn't imagine was possible. So wonderful, really wonderful.
I really hope that others will follow the lead they've set and use the power of something like a video game to change people's perceptions, to increase understanding, and ultimately to make some of the stigma around voice hearing and other experiences go away.
For me, it was really exciting to see something that I explore scientifically being represented so beautifully in a character who's trying to penetrate the mysteries of the environment in which they've been placed, with all of this strange uncertainty and noise and conflicting information that they're getting. I'm very excited by this way of trying to represent mental illness, because I think it actually might be offering us insights that we wouldn't get from pure scientific explorations, and actually giving us quite an empathic view of what it might be like.
Mental illness has been with us for as long as we have been on this planet, but why? Why hasn't evolution stamped out this weakness from within our gene pool? I often pondered this question until I realized that the question had an inbuilt flaw. It assumes that being and thinking differently is a weakness. The only reason we have computers, spacecraft, medicine, poetry, art, and yes, even video games is because individuals are able to simulate new abstract realities in their minds and share them with the rest of us. We need people to be willing to see differently in order for us to progress and survive as society. And we need to be open to these new ways of seeing. And it is this spirit that motivated me to create Senua's story and share it with you.
Acerca de la psicosis y el estado mental, visita HELLBLADE. Bueno, señores, se acabó esto. Voy a finalizar este directo para comenzar el otro, porque todavía me falta. Así que nos vemos dentro de unos minutos. Buenísimo el juego, buenísimo. Vean el final, está espectacular si no lo han visto. Vamos dentro de un rato, pues, gente. Vamos un ratín. Se me cuidan. Chao. Ahí está el reportaje también, buenísimo. Todo bien. Vamos dentro de un rato, no se me vayan a dormir, que ahorita volvemos con más. Solo una pequeña pausa de unos minutos para montar el café y volver otra vez. Así que me despido. Cuídense.